The Lace Hour Third Movement, bring you part two. And just to give you a quick overview, we're talking about the whole Trayvon Martin case, with the whole Gorge Zimmerman case, and we're talking about. I don't see much good coming out of this case, even if they say okay, you're guilty, they sentence him to prison. You're not going to get a backlash, and you're still going to have people out there dying, because what I'm trying to make you guys realize, it's not a racial issue from the standpoint of Gorge Zimmerman hated black people. It's a racial issue from the standpoint of our mind has been taught to hate black men. Our mind has been taught to in a way, dispose of black men. You know, just think about it. You got to follow me now. If we be honest with ourselves, we can look at, we talked about Martin Luther King, we talked about Medgar Evers, we talked about Malcolm X, we talked about Biggie and Tupac. These are all black men that got disposed of, and we only got one killer. You're talking about Martin Luther King is probably the most famous black person in my time. I don't know anyone that's more famous as a black person than Martin Luther King. He's way more famous than Michael Jackson. You're talking about men. You're talking about in the hip hop world, who's more famous than Biggie and Tupac? You know, in the Muslim religion, who's more famous than Malcolm X in America? The Muslim religion in America. In the Christianity religion in America, who's more famous than, especially in the black culture, who's more famous than Martin Luther King? You see what I'm saying? These was men that were just done away with, that like it wasn't nothing. Dr. Martin Luther King was one speaking a speech that was an amazing speech on one night. The next night he was gone, and we have a day for him, and that's it. Medgar Evers, he did so much, and people don't even know who Medgar Evers is. Malcolm X, one day he was here working, next thing he was gone. Tupac and Biggie, you know, they were doing albums, next thing you know, they shot up, and then we want to blame it on this whole, on the West Coast hip hop wars. You talking about two cats that was friends. So I mean, here's the deal, man. The black man in America is so disposable. And Trayvon Martin, this whole thing with Trayvon Martin is only getting played because of the racial undertone from what they're trying to build between white man and a black man. But other than that, this wouldn't even, we got kids, you got black people under the age of 25 killing each other every day. Killing each other every day. You had the President of the United States when, I'm sorry for the camera checking, I don't know. But you have the President of the United States cry when Sandy Hook happened, and that was something to shed tears for. But what about when in the month of in the month of March, we had over almost 100 black folks shoot up each other in Chicago, and then weekend ago, we had between 60 and 80 people who end up shot and injured in some form and end up dead in Chicago in one weekend. This was one weekend. I want to say 92, but I'm not too sure, so I'm just going to say between 60 and 80. Look it up. Black men being disposed, and there's no outcry. There's no outcry. It's the only time there's an outcry is when maybe a black woman get dead wrong. There's a lot of outcry then, but the black man is so disposable. You know, you have in the music world, in the film world is a joke, man. Black men is a joke in film world. We either got to be in a dress or we got to play a thug. We can't, man. I remember coming up, man. We had men who played important roles on the TV. Dr. Cosby, he played a man who, coming up in the fatherless home, I can look to him and try to get some understanding of how to be a man. You're talking about Winslow, the Family Matters. You know, these was men that now you're talking about disposable black men. There's no men in half of these shows. And if there is a man in half of these shows, he got a little role. He's an uncle or something like that. He's not married. He's not a father figure. He might be some kind of conspiracy brother, or he might be some kind of he's some kind of gangster. Or something. We don't even in Hollywood get respected. So it's like this, man. If George Zimmerman goes to jail, nothing gonna happen. People gonna be satisfied when we shouldn't be satisfied. When people are killing each other every day. There's been 4 Trayvon killed. Trayvon Martin. There's been 4 Trayvons killed, and only one of them is gonna find justice. That's the one that was a white man killed him, or whatever he is. I don't care what it is. The white's fair skin, so I'm just gonna call him a white man for this instance. It doesn't. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't. It's not important the color of the skin. What's important is the fact that black men are being disposed at an alarming rate. And don't even talk about, man. Let's not even talk about the ones that not even making it in the world because of abortion. I don't even want to go to abortion, man, in the black community. But what I'm trying to say, okay, now say if George Zimmerman go free, say if he walk, what's gonna happen? It's gonna be what we're gonna do? Come up against the white man when that's not the issue? Not what I'm trying to say is the white man, the race issue is not the issue. It's the fact that the black man is disposable. When you have. And this is in Chicago alone, but when you have that many people get killed, and listen, you're talking about over 150 people in Chicago alone, and half a year has been killed. 50 people. 150 people. That's ridiculous. And I'm guesstimating. I'm sure it's more than that. That's ridiculous. What I'm trying to tell y'all is the black man is so disposable. That's the issue. That's the underlying issue with this whole Trayvon Martin and what you call it is they want you to front like they doing something about it. Oh, we putting George Zimmerman away. We doing something about the black man being disposable. Yeah, for one person, Trayvon Martin, one person out of all these young black men that's dying. What about the rapper? I mean, the little boy that just got killed over a piece of chicken. These are stories. Google. Come out this bubble that you in. Google these stories. There was a black kid got killed over a piece of chicken. That's disposable. That mean, my goodness, that mean a chicken is more valuable than my life? As a black man, chicken is more valuable than us? Now, we got to come up with it. There's got to be ways to fix it, and look into Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. That's not gonna do it. Looking towards T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollar. That's not gonna do it. They have other agendas. What's gonna have to happen is, number one, there's got to be some strong men of God have to come and stand up. We have to raise the standard. Strong men of God have to come over and raise the standard. We need to get up out of these churches and start getting into these streets, man. Men of God, we need to come up out of these churches. These churches are holding us back because there's agendas in the churches that's not, man. Most churches these days is a Sunday and Wednesday thing. And listen to me. There's some churches out there good. There's some churches out there going in the community, being pillars in the community. And that's what we need. But if you're in a church that's not doing that, come up out that church and get together with brothers and let's go into this community. You see what I'm saying? Black men is gonna have to change that. Not no laws, not no rules. We can't go to no pastors. It's gonna be us. We have to step this up. We waiting for this Superman to come, and he's not coming until Jesus comes. That's the only thing we have hope in is when Jesus comes. But until then, we gotta start doing something and not be so patient and stop waiting. Let's get out there and do it. That's the first thing. It's going to take black men to get out there and start talking to these little kids, man. It's going to take us to start, changing these little kids' mind by educating them. It's going to take black men to educate these to educate these kids. The second thing we got to do is we got to rebuild the family. The family must be rebuilt. That's the only way we can stop this. And the family is a man, a woman, and kids. Man and woman and a child, whatever. That three, when there's a man and a woman, That's a family. That is family. And when that happens, and a man home raising his kids along with a woman, then a man has the know about to you know, a man being raised by a man, he has to know about to teach another young man. So the family has to be rebuilt, and I say that in almost every video. We have to rebuild a family. And number two, number three, the church has to come up. The church has to stop get out these false gospels. The church has to get out the money gospel. The church has to get out the four walls. God, Jesus, the word of God say, I do not dwell in buildings and temples built by man. That means I don't dwell in these temples. God, you can't put God in a box like that. God is not in the box of how I'm gonna get my bills paid. God is bigger than that. God is saying, you know, don't worry about your bills. Go out there and let's get into these streets. Let's take the streets back, because the government is not going to do it. The government is not going to solve any problem. There's going to be once every 10 years there's going to be another Trayvon Martin in a couple years after this. After this case over, there's going to be another Trayvon Martin that hits the courtroom. But there's going to be a billion Trayvon Martins that's hit the streets. A billion Trayvon Martin that hit the streets. And to be honest with you, we have cases where, and we want to feel on the flip side, where people was in Trayvon's shoes and the other dude died. We don't say nothing about that. We don't say nothing about that. We're talking about a culture in the black, we're talking about in the black culture, a culture of violence. A culture of violence. This video going long. I'm doing one more, and I promise this is the last one. Let's talk about third movement.